Renegade Heretics, the foreword. Testament of a social black sheep and cultural heretic. Who knows, or who could say, that the origins of a New Testament were from some obscure scribe out in the first century wilderness of some Gnostic or Essene congregation. Those written words by that scribe developed a cult following as the aspirational trends in that part of the Roman Empire came to adopt the thoughts and concepts of that scribe's writings. A more ambitious and enterprising group seized upon those thoughts and concepts' popular appeal and decided to format those writings for mass dissemination. They provided a narrative which others would accept with the mass cultural traditions, knowing that the scribes' writings on their merit were so enlightening that they'd be the light that the herd sheeple would follow anywhere. That is why I'm seeking from you, dear literary dilettantes, that the following texts give you an alternative way of thinking and acting, and strikes you as a communicable commodity, then you would know best to which persons to go to give this piece a hearing for its best chance of underground viral dissemination. Part 1. Well, fuck it. I'll be damned. Something other than. It really doesn't matter anyhow. As Beard walked up the path leading to the street where the city park was, Beard was holding back the tears welling in his eyes as he thought of those lyrics and melody by Chicago. Mental fatigue and frustration was building up and begging the question in his head. Was it all a futile and vain effort? How many months, how many years had he been doing this with no significant and consistent information and feedback? Beard thought to himself while grinding his teeth against each other in a grimace. No one is interested in what I'm talking about. Besides, the shallow and the casual, oh, that's interesting. That glazed eye look of desiring to be elsewhere and talking about this with him. They're busy with the everyday trends and ritual of the rat race. Their minds are so preoccupied with the clutter of distraction, there's no room for any other reflection unless it comes in their dreams, if they do dream. It was a spoon-fed and programmed thought cast for their parts as a prop of someone else's agenda, for which they were the expendable and fungible hirelings. Coming to a tree by the shallow banks of a stream, Beard leaned against it to take in the patch of bare-leaved trees in the woods across the way, and hear the gurgling sounds of the clear water flowing past, shimmering in the shadows in the sunlight. He could hear the passing of people, those by themselves, out for their exercise and listening to music on their headphones or earbuds, for mothers pushing their infants' carriages as they sought to lose the unflattering weight thickening their waist, hips, butts, and thighs. The mostly indistinguishable sounds of conversation on their phones with vendors or about the latest hearsay and gossip on celebrities, or even more banally people they knew. They dealing with all that made what Beard was thinking or had to say an abstract irrelevancy. Perhaps, Beard thought, it's meant just for my edification, my individualized code of meetings. That was a recurring reminder to Beard that with each and for each entity there is a specific code logic path derived from the coherence of those relevant present signals to those picked up in one's past sensory field, making them thought guides for the logic path. That's right, Beard, a voice came into his head. We've been a channel on your subconscious reception bandwidth for decades now. You're known about us, though misguidedly have attributed our source to other entity forms than to us. We are the logic's interlocutor for this channel. We have a locus mantra which informs you from your subconscious. When you are less temporally distracted, you sense us as intuitions. We are linguistic interpretations of what you've consciously sensed and alerted subconsciously by those conscious triggers of resonance. Beard thought back to them. Oh, you are the metaphysical, non-secular side that gives analysis and evaluations for what I could or should do kinetically, right? In ways that is so. Your focus is the predicate for the data intake we associate and collate for the logic you use for your mundane, daily physical organizational navigations. Our info that you receive is relevant specifically to you and only in specific coincidental instances for others. They continue saying, you've come to a realization that your being and other beings are more than consumeristic indulgence. You are logistic management and processing centers for the mind of your brain, so one can get and have insights beyond the sensory reach of your anatomical vessels. What you provide for your mind as its logical supplier enables it to realize the different dimensions available for it to see as credible forms for experience, but self-learning. It continues. Your dreams are the most explicit examples of the functions your body supports by its cognizance and the extrapolated uses that different forms can provide on different levels of meaning and those meanings of manifestation. Yeah, what I dream about affects me in that way, Beard interjected. As a primary logistics center base for your mind, the more efficient service you provide for its function is correlated to you figuratively and literally streamlining your own choice of options to those for your maintained and sustaining the operations of the mind. It is in the dream mode that the mind refertilizes the conscious logic with new intangible perspectives and possibilities. It is the conduit used for your thoughts and insights. They give you that perspective that has become such an obsessive imperative to embrace and channel that information for a wider receptivity. It is the dream. It is more than what some people will call nighttime fantasy escape. The dream, as narrated by your sibling extension, is giving you the affirmation of your existence, is more than its anatomical senses boundaries of your awakened self, but your dreams are the portals to the dimensions of your consciousness. Part 2. Your lexicon and its metaphysics. Lexicon, the vocabulary of a particular language, field, social class, person, etc. Metaphysics, philosophy, especially in its more abstruse branches, the underlying theoretical principles of a subject or field of inquiry. The metaphysics of your lexicon, since the articles are meant to explain the metaphysics of your lexicon, would be as pedantic, if not more, than what I would attempt. I might as well give you my verbiage than submit you to a new pedantic verbiage. What words you choose to express yourself also define the dimensions of your conceptions on that expression. This is significant to me since it frames the boundaries of what your focus is and what your exhibition of thought description is presenting to others. As many of you have chastised me for not speaking plainly or too pedantically, or pretentiously, I reply that there is a nuanced significance between Dick and Sally are arguing to Dick and Sally are exchanging rapacious words. The latter presents an evocative image by my use of rapacious to suggest a violation of personal space between the two in their arguing. More broadly, using the more expansive rapacious than the more reductive arguing induces the reader's imagination about the activity than the more mundane visions that would come with just arguing. The words, aka lexicon, we choose to use gives both the user and the receiver the nature and quality, the metaphysics of a subject in that specific dimension which wouldn't exist necessarily in the more reductive objective frame of thinking and expressing one's perception. The lexicon functions as a conjuring triggers to dimensions of thinking beyond the popular vernacular in ways it's the womb from which the jargon of idioms and slang gestate for their reductionist ends. Part 3. An hourglass-like existence. Since I couldn't continue this argument with my physical therapist for nearly another 2 weeks, this is as good a place as any to propose this hypothesis. Even before I saw this documentary on the 7-time Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman, whose championship workout scheme degenerated his spinal disc, I wondered, in a rare concurrence with Donald Trump, if there wasn't a natural breakdown, mortality warranty, shelf life, for even the best of us. I'm sure y'all have known or heard about people who died prematurely. I know of 2 family relatives who passed away while seemingly in the peak of their years. And you've heard of distance runners or other athletes collapsing during a routine workout. Other than, but in a way similar to, the out-of-shape person who overexerts themselves during a stressful moment. What about the longevity of a person not have, despite operating at what is considered a peak level of physical training? We're all going to die within the spectrum of the bell curve of probability, but what level of intensity is best? And what level of intensity do we begin to have negligible to negative returns by the intensity of the workouts for our longevity? Particularly for those of us who want to lose weight with a propriety on our diet. Are recommended and popular high-intensity aerobics doing the same thing to our body as what a running car frequently at high RPM would do? Or would a lower intensity aerobic workout be contributory?
The team with Coach Adrian
would or would a lower intensity aerobic workout not be contributory to the unneeded wear and tear on our longevity? Think about that. Part 4. A compilation of things. A gallery of lust. No matter how much they have on and want to give me a peak excitement, or want me to give them a peak of excitement, or how little clothing they have on, as long as they want that snatch of theirs to be exposed and be and ready for an insertion wherever she wants me to put it. Doesn't matter. The many dicks could get some into those hoes, because she lets you know how much she likes it when it happens. Moving more seriously to this subject, as Ayn Rand would say, Everyone has the right to make his own decisions, but no one has the right to force his decision on others. From Atlas Shrugged. I choose to label capitalism in the most generous light of this pejorative and a morality, since the individual is not necessarily subject to the aesthetics of their social environment. I choose to call socialism benign despotism because whatever good intention and ends it seeks, there is a formal or informal imposition of values on the whole or minority by others. An argument for socialism would be the closing of aggrandizing loopholes with a leveraged view over the disadvantaged rest. A counter-argument for capitalism would be that genius and initiative, no matter the status of its origin, should be encouraged instead of repressed for non-manifest intangible ends. My personal experiences have seen, in another generously meant pejorative, the benevolent despotism of parental control and direction. To my questioning the relevance and facility of experiences and ways of the past being made arbitrary of what could be done in the present or envisioned for the future. Even if the argument is made that there are more indefinite to limitless options to the abstraction of the intangible over the minimally regulated access of material acquisitions over tangible, there is the elephant in the room counter-argument that prime examples of intangible abstractions, such as religion and other dogma, have become a masterful instrument of repressive authoritarianism due to the administrative compulsion of creating a sustaining, organized institutional culture for those intangibles. But since such instruments of repression are usually in a tangible institutional hierarchy, there is a tangible perception of those levers of authority. In contrast, those minimally regulated acquisition accesses to the means of control and thus authority over others can exist in a more nebulous, non-transparent form of definitive identification. One could argue the irrelevancy of ethical and moral ethics as impractical and inexpeditious impediments to the feasible logical possibility goals, even though the feasibly logical as an intangible idea and ends could be an existential adversary to the manifesting tangible cultural and social milieu. But in this instance, ethical and moral are more vulnerable to obfuscating instruction than being efficacious instruments of resolution. The seeming mutual exclusivity of benefits is for the adherence to a capitalist or socialist ethos, raises the questions of both ontology beyond other anthropomorphic origin. Could it be that there are two different yin-yang ontologies in cosmic existence? One would be for discovery and efficiency, capitalism, while the other would be for administrative integration, socialism. As symbiotic and synergistic partners, they will produce an increasingly more efficient systemic operation. In a lesser symbiotic and synergistic relationship, particularly in more tangible systems, there comes into play a cannibalistic relation in which the more sustainably organized system, capitalism, for its A to B reductive immorality, will prevail over the more ethically and morally qualitative socialism. This would endanger the systems whose aesthetics may have been more populist favorability, but whose organizational sustainability is lacking. Former urban industrial job and coal mining communities, and not too big to fail banks. The loss of cultures cannibalized by the more operationally organized systems may not be so easily accepted socially and politically by those unwilling to adopt, or adapt to cannibalizing structures, thus establishing an inherent dysfunctional inefficiency as part of the predominating structure's operation. The management of such inefficiency will engender the derived offshoots of the predominant system's reforming, rehabilitating, or repressive manifestations to bring the yin-yang incongruence back to some form of systemic operational equilibrium as a legacy in organic systemic mixture of a contrasting contention between the two wheels of aspiration. Part 5. A liberation to servitude of a prostituted culture. Money gains you its prostituted quid pro quo of servitude to the vanity of pleasures from the idolization of a narcissistic self-vision of the value one places on oneself. What is a treasure if it is a cheapened commodity of a transactional whim of the moment and the latest trade in currency of gain trappings in a self-debasement in the self-degrading belief of one's allure for something ubiquitous to have, but fungibly of less value now, for you now seeking to get the full value of the derived respect and value of it. Just wondering. Part 6. In case you thought you could logically think your way out of things, a logical system is always based on axioms, a statement or proposition which was regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true. A logical system cannot prove the consistency of its own axioms, since the axioms' verity are always infallible. Thus, a logic system cannot prove whether itself is true. No logic system will ever be able to prove everything. Truth cannot be reached by logic. Truth is singular. Truth is the one. An example, Kurt Gödel's shocking discovery. In 1931, a grim and paranoid genius, Kurt Gödel, the Martin Luther of mathematics, stated that math cannot be the language in which the whole truth may one day be expressed. He discovered a reason why. Probably as poorly understood and often misapplied as Luther, Kurt Gödel made himself odious by mathematically proving that a system founded on axioms, which are your basic assumptions upon which you build your understanding or theory or religion, etc., can never hope to find proof for the consistency of those initial axioms and will therefore always be incomplete. This is called Gödel's incompleteness theorem, and this theorem caused a reformation in logic and philosophy. Just like Luther proved that in religion, Kurt Gödel postulated salvation comes through faith and and not works. Goodell proved that the whole truth can only be believed and not proven. It's incompleteness theorem. What a bummer for all those hopeful believers who believe that one day somehow either math or their philosophy or their religion would leave them out of the bondage of ignorance. No way, Jose. Since Goodell, we know that a logical system can now liberate, but that doesn't mean that rules are bad. Rules help create order and understanding. A society based on rules is far better off than a society not based on rules. And math put a man on the moon. Math gets us the internet. Math gave us this whole wild global culture. Yay, math may run with the wind and the free-range chickens as long as not the whole truth is addressed. A system of logic cannot cover it all. The truth cannot be expressed by logic. The grand unified theory, as a certain somebody demands, would not be written in math. This is also the reason why you never hear anyone solemnly swear, tell truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me mathematics. Still, mathematics, is beautiful. Do thy best, O math, despite thy wrong. Part 7. Such possibilities. Such displays precipitate admiration for those so willing to give a gratuitous performance, which tease the imagination for the myriad possible scenarios that are present for my imagination to think of. Just the thought of having such a pleasure that would make me think that the improbable wasn't that much a fantasy for me to find in the most unlikely of places that would stir the fleshly desires for a carnal knowledge of this subject, my object of lust. As the opportunities presented to me remind me, there is more than what is first presented for me to indulgently enjoy as a pleasure for the palate of my desires, for the ravishment by at least my imagination of the menu of deliciousness. From the eyes of equal wanting desire soliciting my attention as part of an a la carte spread to satisfy my mind's hunger for such beauty and beauties, I accept with burning lust your incitement of my weakness. Part 8. Old cocksuckers don't die. They just become more willing. Corey said, by the way, I forgot to mention, make sure to use protection if we do end up meeting here, because I don't want to start a family, laughing out loud. What are you doing over there? My kitty kind of needs you here. I responded, I'll have that kitty purring with contentment as you swallow my cock down your throat whole to get to that pussy of yours. Corey, I'm sure we can make a date if you have no problem with that. As I said, all I want is a great night with you, and you drive me wild. Just send me a message on my page so you can come over. I don't mind having fun with you, and you won't have to worry about feeling the insides of my still tight, very juicy, mature pussy. Later, Corey added, I'm sure we could do something if you actually want to. How about we skip all this and you just come over here and make me come, laughing out loud. That could be a good plan, right? Smiling. I'm glad we're talking now. going to send you my pics. You weren't looking for anything serious here, right? Just leave a cum taste in my mouth, right? Speaking of taste in my mouth, your cum tastes very good, laughing out loud. Anyway, sorry, I know I'm getting way too into the details here. Basically, long story short, I would really like to get laid right about now and try not to turn this into anything serious. If that's cool with you, I'd be glad to have you over here. How about we talk on the phone and plan something out? Like I said, you're welcome over here. My place is on the small side, but it's pretty cozy, so your timing couldn't be better. Will it be okay to give you directions so you can come on over? You won't get lost on your way, will you? Laughing out loud. You should use the GPS. I know how guys are. Anyway, I'm just hanging out here at my place, all by myself, and would love your company. There's nothing I need from you other than a good time together. And we'll see if you're able to make me come or not. Come on, I know you wanna. Me. Let's have you tell me how wide your mouth will drool open, taking and taste me. Curry continues. Oh, you know what I want to be doing? To be honest, laughing out loud, I want to have you sliding my panties off by now. This is the only thing I ask of you, and I will return the favor. Believe me, I give an amazing head, and this is the most horny I've been in a long time as I can remember. I'm going to explode soon. Part 9.